Welcome to the Somatic Coaching Academy podcast. I'm Ani Anderson.
And I'm Brian Trzaskos. Join us as we explore the science
and art of trauma-sensitive somatic practices and tools.
Strengthen your practice as a coach, therapist, or holistic professional.
Master the art of motivating even the most challenging clients when you understand how to tap into and unlock your client's complete holistic intelligence.
If you want to learn the most cutting-edge, research-supported skills for personal and professional mastery, you've come to the right place. Let's get this conversation started.
Hello and welcome to the Somatic Coaching Academy podcast. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Ani.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. You ready for today's podcast?
Yeah. Hey, what episode are we on?
We're at 110, I believe.
Great.
110.
Awesome. And what are we talking about today?
So today we are talking, I thought we would do a podcast just on fundamental, let's get back to the basics kind of somatic coaching, somatic practices, and just ask a question that gets searched quite a lot and gets asked actually quite a bit in our programs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it on Google?
Yeah. You know, people ask this question kind of a lot too, when they're starting to look for ways to become more relaxed or look for ways to balance their nervous system or all those kinds of things. They start looking at different meditation techniques. And one of the techniques that pops up for a lot of people are body scans.
They're very popular.
Yeah. So really this week we're talking about, how do you do a body scan meditation?
Oh, that's a great topic. Yeah. I have done so many body scans with so many different practitioners.
Yeah, I have too. And there's some things I personally, right? They're personal things.
Preference stuff.
Personal preferences on how I love to have body scans done and how other ones just don't work for me as well, sort of thing. I'm sure you have the same kind of preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's when you're doing one for yourself, it's important to know, hey, well, first of all, what's your intention for doing the body scan? Right.
Yes.
So that's kind of a big thing.
Yes.
Then
yes.
Based on your intention for the body scan, you can think a little bit about, well, what kind of guidance and stuff really works for you. We're going to talk today about the basic ways to do body scans. And then you can also think about body scans as kind of in levels of why you would do body scans and what you can expect to kind of get out of a body scan at different levels as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of place yourself on a bit of a hierarchy, if you will. Not that it's really a hierarchy, actually. It's just different levels of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So people can start to think about.
Great. Yeah. I'm excited to do this because I think it is we have a lot of proprietary things that we do here in our certification programs and with our coaching team. And this is one of those things that a lot of different people do it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are kind of a lot of questions. And usually when people come in, usually people have had some experience with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And body scans are fundamental to any somatic work that you do. They're really like a building block of somatic practice. And again, whether you are learning in yoga or qigong or any other kind of classic kind of somatic practices, body scans will probably show up in almost every area. And so if you're in a somatic either training program or class or something like that, and body scans don't come up, I would just be curious of why, because they really are a fundamental way to start experiencing mindfulness in a really tangible way.
So if you're a part of any kind of somatic program, you can kind of expect to see a body scan. Yeah. And if you didn't, then you might ask what the intention is behind that.
Yeah, right.
And then also you'll see body scans and other kinds of programs, and you can kind of cue in like, oh, that's a somatic part. Actually, that's funny. I remember doing a program on sleep. And in the promotion of the program, they said something about how there were somatic aspects. And I was really interested to see like what that was, because that word is thrown around now quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Very popular. And there were body scan meditations.
Yeah. Yeah. So oftentimes you see those things show up. So let's just talk about meditation for just a really hot second here, is that there's lots of different ways to do meditation, right? So meditation is a practice of placing your focus on something and then coming back to that focus again and again and again. And then you ask, well, what am I placing my focus on? Well, there's, again, what's your intention would might tell you something about that differently. So some people, when they're practicing meditations, it's a more of a, I don't know, how do you want to say this? Let's just say spiritual experience. Let's say the more like seventh chakra, sixth chakra experience, where the meditation energy or focus is actually taking place in the head area, right? And you're going to get a very different effect from that meditation, that kind of meditation, than if the focus of your attention is in your body.
Hmm.
So you're kind of different ends of the spectrum, so to
Hmm.
speak. Now, both forms of meditation are good, but they just get
Different.
different reasons. So
Yeah, and there's all kinds of meditations, right? There's guided meditations
thousands of
and
different
guided meditations,
thousands of
and
different
there's
kinds of meditations out there.
meditations and moving meditations, laying down meditations, sitting up meditations, all kinds.
Yeah. And so a lot of it is based on what's your intention. I'm trained in teaching meditation, and and part of that training I went through, I had to learn like hundreds of different meditations. And to understand, like, if someone had a certain thing they were intending to be able to do, then you could actually match up certain meditations to help them be more likely to achieve what it is that they're intending to achieve,
Right.
sort of thing. So what I
Which is
find,
kind of cool. I have a meditation certification as well that did that, and you learned a whole bunch of
yeah,
different kinds. And I think it's cool because I've also studied like certain kinds of
yeah,
meditation more in depth in
sure.
my life. But there is that thing too where you could like go study a meditation practice,
Yes, like
right?
one meditation practice, sure, and
Yeah.
deep dive in it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, so why would you do a body scan meditation? Maybe let's just kind of talk about that. And maybe actually let's just back up a little bit. What is a body scan meditation? So a body scanning meditation is a form of meditation that focuses on paying attention to body regions and body kind of areas. So you always kind of bringing your focus back to what's happening in your body and also paying attention to the sensations that you're experiencing in your body, right? Rather than focusing on a mantra, say, or rather than focusing
Right.
on a visualization, right? Kind of thing. You're
Right.
focusing on the sensations in your body. So in some ways, body scanning is really has a lot of mindfulness practice is associated with it,
Hmm.
because a lot of mindfulness is about simply paying attention to what's going on in your body, right?
Hmm.
So, why would you practice a body scan meditation? Well, you could practice really because you wanted to relax, first of all, right?
Sure.
That could be a this is actually kind of like the first level of body scanning meditation. Why would you practice? Just helps you relax, helps you kind of start to let go of tension in your body, and it can be really effective for that. And on that level too, oftentimes, if that's what you're looking for, as you're getting a guidance through a body scan, and there's apps out there where you can get guided body scans, or
Oh
you can
yeah.
work with a teacher, right? All those kinds of things. But that first level, oftentimes, as someone is helping you to pay attention to what's going on in your body, there's oftentimes either visualizations or cueing that will go along with that level of practice. So a typical thing would be like, my feet feel heavy and relaxed or something like that. And you would just pay attention to different parts of your body and evoke that mantra about that area of your body. So my feet are feeling heavy and relaxed. My arms are feeling heavy and relaxed. My head. And so you just kind of go through your body and just relax your body one kind of part at a time as you go through.
Right. Yeah, and then there's the way where you have somebody cue in, but you don't kind of tell them what to feel,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
and they see what they feel.
exactly. So those are like the two basic ways. So really like the two basic ways that you can do body scans is one way, what we just talked about, is you can go through the body kind of sequentially, region by region. So you can say, okay, so let's start at the feet and work our way up to the head, for instance. So let's pay attention to your feet. Let's pay attention to your calves. Let's pay attention to your knees, pay attention to your thighs, and so forth. And you're just working through the body kind of sequentially. The other way is just generally notice your body in general and just notice where you feel stuff and where you don't feel stuff.
Right.
And like, where is your attention drawn to and where is your attention not drawn to? And where your attention is drawn to, like, why is it drawn there? And then once it's drawn there, then you could, if you wanted to, evoke some type of relaxation mantra about that area, say, for instance. And again, there's no like right or wrong or good or bad for how you do any of these things, but basically figure out what works for you, but it might change too from day to day. Like some days it might just be like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a general noticing. And the other day it might be like, I think I'd like to do a structured, sequential kind of body scan process as I go through
Hmm.
or be led through
Right. Yeah.
sort of thing.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what you're meant, was that kind of how
Hmm.
you were thinking about it,
Yeah.
general noticing versus kind of sequentially
Hmm.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can think about that. You might like either one, the way that it works. So the first level is really about just generally getting into a relaxed state, and that's really important. Um, just because most people aren't relaxed.
Yeah. And most people are so not even cued in with how not relaxed they are. So they start to do a little bit of relaxation, like, wow, I was really jacked up. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
And then, they can go deeper from there. But most people have no idea how stressed and anxious and stuff they are.
Yeah, and that's critically important. That's just that step alone. And for some people, just kind of staying there for a little while is the best thing that they can do in
Hmm.
terms of remembering what it feels like to feel relaxed. And then again, having an aha moment of like, oh my God, I did not realize how much tension I was carrying. Because I'll even admit, I carry a lot less tension around than I used to carry around in my life. And even now, when I do body scans, I say, oh wow, I still had some tension there that you were always
You're
carrying
not
around more,
free of tension.
not free of tension.
I can't hang out with you anymore.
I mean, we always carry around more tension than we need to in any given moment. Now, the question is like how much more? That's like gradations there. So you can kind of figure that out. But most of us are not like we talk about our cat, Lucky, quite a bit on
Yeah.
the podcast here. And so Lucky, when Lucky is like not carrying tension, like
Wet rag.
he's
Just,
like totally not carrying tension.
yeah.
So most of us are not living like cats. It's like even when we're sitting down or even when we're lying down, we're still have chronic muscle tension in
Hmm.
our bodies, and we feel that in our backs and in our hips and in our necks and those kinds of things.
It might actually be interesting if you have not done body scans before and you start, that some people fall asleep, and that's okay. Maybe you need to sleep. So that sometimes people get, that question comes up, oh, I can't do it without falling asleep. Obviously, it's great to be able to remain alert and do the meditation, but also check it out. Like you might need to sleep.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great point, Ani. That's a really good point. When we are entering into a meditative state, it's the same way that we start going into a sleep state. And we're kind of entering into that state of relaxation, and then we'll get to a fork in the road.
yeah.
And if our body is not rested well enough, we'll always take the sleep fork. Right. So
Yeah.
getting frustrated because you're falling asleep meditation is really, like you said, just an indicator that your body needs more rest.
Right. I love that fork feeling because I think probably because I'm an experienced meditator, when I go to take a nap, I'm very aware of the fork and
Mm,
I choose the nap.
yeah, right. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here I go into the nap now,
Yeah,
not the
exactly.
meditation.
Yeah, right. So that's very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
And if you get to the point where you're like, oh, I want to do the meditation, then that's going to require more awareness,
Right.
right? Where the sleep kind of go into those theta and delta waves, and you kind of become unaware of what's going on. And again, not one better than the other, but just
Nope.
know if you're falling asleep, you probably need more rest. So that's good. Keep
Good for
getting
you.
rest, keep getting rest, keep getting rest, and eventually be able to take that fork towards paying attention and being aware,
Yeah.
sort of thing, right? So yeah, just being relaxed, having that awareness that, oh my God, I'm a lot tighter than I thought I was. Like those are great ahas. So what are some of your at that level? Well, maybe let's talk about the rest of the levels of meditation on it, and then I'll ask you the question about what your favorite things are.
Okay.
Because if I ask you now, you may actually bust,
Oh,
you might see,
your structure.
you might actually give away one of these other levels.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah, because you're pretty high level
Okay.
meditator.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Sure.
So what's the next level? So that level of relaxation is great. You know what? If that feels good for you, then just hang out there. That's good. Keep doing that. More of that. That's awesome. A progression of that level would be to move more into really improving awareness. So you're not just asking your body to keep relaxing, like my legs feel heavy and relaxed, my butt feels heavy and relaxed, my arm, whatever it is, and just getting more relaxed. It's actually becoming more aware of what you're actually experiencing internally, and then naming those sensations. So it's a little bit different. That first level is really about just quieting the nervous system down, giving it a break, coming into some deep rest kind of states. The second level isn't necessarily relaxing.
That's right, Brian. It's a good thing you didn't ask me the question. I would have said that.
Yeah. I mean, it can be relaxing,
But it
but
isn't
that's not the point of
necessarily.
it.
Yeah, I don't find it relaxing personally.
Yeah. So that second level is where you're actually just becoming more aware of the sensations you're experiencing in your body
Mm.
to begin listening to your body, listening to your body and beginning to understand the language of your body, like what's your body trying to tell you just through a sensory experience sort of thing. So as you're scanning through, you're picking up different sensations and then naming them. Like, oh, my feet feel uh, tingly. And then you move on. My calves feel heavy, and then you move on. My thighs feel cold, and then you move on. And we move through in a very non-judgmental way. Of course, you could do that just in the general scan too. You don't have to go through sequentially. You just notice your body and you go, okay, what's my body feeling? And then you can just start naming the sensations in certain areas, right? Just starts to begin building a basic communication framework with your body, right? In the way of just sensory intelligence or somatic intelligence. Intelligence is information, and your body has information to share with you. But if you're not listening to that information, you really can't do anything with it.
Not gonna hear it.
Yeah.
Not
So,
listening.
yeah. So that's the second level. Do you have some thoughts about that second level?
I just shared them, basically.
It's not relaxing.
Mm-mm. No. I have a hard time paying attention in the second level, and I'm, very practiced at this stuff.
Mm.
But I find first of all, I need to be led.
Ah,
I
okay.
have a really hard time doing that myself. I'll pop out
Hmm.
into the busyness of whatever's going on in my head. I can do it a little bit better when I'm led. I can do it better when I'm led. And I don't necessarily like love it, but I do like being more masterful at using the information.
Mm, mm. So it's kind of interesting. Do you feel like how often do you do just impromptu body scans during the day? Like I know because we both do a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
sensory-based work, right? Sensation-based work, which is always
Yeah.
about referencing what you have going on. So
That's a really interesting question because I thought you were going to say how many times like a week do you do a body scan? And do uh, I don't do a lot of regular body scanning unless I'm like working with or on a specific thing.
mm,
But I will what do you say impromptu? And I will
yeah.
impromptu body scan, geez, 50 times a day. I mean, I do a lot.
Yeah. So let me ask you, do you feel like your capacity or capabilities to do those impromptu body scans have been developed by a past history of
Definitely.
doing how do you want to say like
Practice?
practiced or planned kind of body scans?
Definitely. When I started meditating in my 20s, I was doing a lot of body scans.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Likewise, me. I mean, I don't do a lot. Well, let me take that back. In my past, I used to do a lot of just like planned body scans.
mhm.
Like I had an audio. Actually, the very first audio that I ever created for patients was a body scan. I don't know if you remember that or not.
The one you recorded on the DVD
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
tie-dye.
yeah, exactly. But
Oh, I remember.
yeah, I because you thought you could do it better than I did. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole story.
That's a story for
Yeah, it's a whole
another.
story. But
Look at us now, Brian.
yeah,
Look at us now.
before that, I had a body scan that I would listen to, and I would do a lot. And I think that, to your point, has given me the capacity to do a lot of just impromptu body scanning now. I mean, I just check in really quick to my body and just pinpoint what I'm experiencing and be able to name it and use it and keep going. But
Totally.
that comes
Yeah.
from just doing a lot of practice
Hmm.
and focusing on that. But I will also say, I actually do a body scan every single night when I lie down in bed.
Yeah, I know you do.
So when I lay down in bed, I will just, and it's not like a big hoo-ha. It's not like a big deal of it. I just feel like I feel my,
Now I will do the
now we're doing
body
my body scan.
scan.
But I just feel I just feel my body rest into the bed, and I go through my region, start from my feet and kind of work my way up and just notice how my body's kind of resting down. I notice if I feel anything that doesn't feel relaxed. And then I do like a thank you kind of meditation, but I combine that with doing some body scanning as
Mhm.
well
Yeah,
each night. And
every day.
it takes like 10 minutes or something like
You
that.
have told me to do that. Yeah.
But it's a way I stay kind of connected into that practice
Yeah,
sort
sure.
of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So that first level, again, so is relaxation,
Yeah.
and maybe you like doing that. The second level is just about really improving your sensory awareness and kind of naming what you're experiencing. And then the next level is where you're now practicing consciously shifting your sensations.
Hmm.
So you can see we go from being actually more of a relatively kind of passive
That's what I was
process
thinking. Yeah.
at the level
Hmm.
one, which is relaxation,
To be
more
more
into more of
active.
an active process where we're using tools like dual awareness and sensory magnification. And this is what we teach our students in our certification program to do with their clients. We kind of all three of these levels because we talk again a lot about here what you can't find inside your body you're never going to find in the outside world, and based on that tells us that anything you want to find in the outside world you have to be able to create internally first. And if we're leaving it up to chance of feeling it internally or creating internally first, then it's probably not going to happen. But if we can consciously create it, much more likely to be able to create what we want on the outside. And so
And
that's that third level.
what a lot of people want to create is things like freedom, peace, space, joy, stuff like that. And it's one of the reasons why I want to point out we're the Somatic Coaching Academy, because from a coaching perspective, we're helping people to optimize their life, talk about what they want to create. And, it's our philosophy, just like Brian said, that you're not going to be able to create anything externally that you can't create internally first.
Mm,
So, and that's not just our opinion, that's what the ancients, say.
mm.
Worked for them. And we find that it really does work for folks.
Yeah, and that's actually what the science is saying now too,
Mhm.
right? This
Yeah. Yeah.
psychophysiological science is telling us the same thing right now,
Yep.
is that basically the world is a construct of our internal experience, of our internal psychology, of our internal physiology, of our emotionality, right? We're literally projecting our internal state out onto the world constantly. And so if we want to change the outside world, we need to change our inside world first. We start projecting something that we want
Right. So
out there.
we do a lot of mindset work with our coaching team, with the clients, and like that's how you start,
Mm, yeah.
because you can't just mentally manipulate those things that you want to create unless you already have subconscious patterns for that in your life.
Hmm.
But from the most part, people want something they don't already have subconscious patterns around.
Right. Yeah. So the one way you can begin to learning what we call interoceptive literacy, actually, interoception is our internal sensations that come from typically our viscera, our gut, our organ systems. And we just have to learn the literacy of that. Like, how do we actually start to name, describe what's going on? And then once we can learn to describe it, it's like learning the alphabet. The reason we use literacy is like learning the alphabet. Like that first stage is like, hey, here's the letters in the alphabet. And the second stage is like, oh, so how do these letters sound? A, E, I, O, U. We have to understand how they sound. Okay, now that we understand how they sound, how do we put them and make words out of them? And then turn those words into sentences, paint those sentences into paragraphs, put those paragraphs into a chapter, whatever it is. It's the same basic way with interoceptive literacy. You have to first understand, like, what does that actually sound like? In this case, like kind of feel like, sound like, sense like. And then once you have that, then you can start to consciously begin moving those sensations around internally in order to write your own internal story if you wanted to. So it's kind of the three levels of how we teach body scans here at the academy. And you can work on any of those levels that you want to work on. It's going to be harder to work on the higher levels if you haven't done those lower levels first, though. So I guess maybe it is a hierarchy.
I
It's going
think
to,
it's a
it's going to
hierarchy.
be
They,
difficult to actually do the dual awareness and the sense of, unless you've actually gone through the aware literacy and the relaxation stages first. So
mm,
take that back. It is a hierarchy. So, but wherever you are on it, that's great. Perfectly fine.
yep.
Yeah. So far with body scans, we've talked about the idea there's two basic ways to do them. You can just go, hey, general body awareness, or you can just go sequentially through. And then you have these three levels. You have relaxation, you have sensory awareness, and then you have conscious modification of what you're experiencing. Before we finish, though, here, we need to talk about trauma sensitive body scans, idea of trauma sensitivity,
Okay.
right? Because you've probably heard before, if you've listened to our podcast for a while, if you've done any reading on somatic practices, somatic coaching, somatic anything at all, you might have heard the idea that trauma or emotions get stored in the body, right? And without dissecting all of that on a physiological level for a second, let's just say that is the thing. And the thing is that there are deeply kind of protective patterns that live internally in our physiology that are below our level of awareness. So we're kind of navigating through the world in a lot of ways. And the reason we go towards some things and away from other things actually is so that we don't stir up some underlying past hurt, past problem, which you might even be a past trauma that's in your system someplace that's actually governing how you perceive the world. Um, but if you're not paying attention to it, it usually doesn't want to come up, so it hides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, so these traumas could be hiding in the system. And by the way, they're hiding in the system. They could be causing other problems in your life. They could be causing physical problems like high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic pain, respiratory problems, and that kind of stuff. They could be causing emotional disturbances like chronic depression, chronic anxiety. They could be causing relationship challenges. So a lot of times people come to us for those things and they don't realize that the thing that's basically underneath all those things is some hidden trauma,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? So when we start doing body scans with people, go ahead.
You can find that out.
Yeah, you can find that out.
When you start to do body scans with people, you could find that out.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you start to do body scans with people, or really other meditations and stuff as well, breath work is another one
Definitely. Yes.
that can stir up and activate
100%. Yeah.
hidden trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about breath work practices before in earlier podcasts. So
Yeah.
you can check that out.
People are always really interested in this topic when I do um, talks
Mm-hmm.
about it as soon as we talk about breath work, because it's kind of like a hip happening thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some people will be like, whoa, I did breath work, really screwed me up, will not do it again, like that kind of thing. And then other people are like, I thought breath work was super cool, like going to the gym. Like, why can't we do it with everybody? We just say, be careful.
Yeah, so body scans can be a little bit the same way because different people have different responses to body scans. And oftentimes people will say, hey, I just want to relax. And so they'll come and do a body scan. And then as they're going through their body and paying attention to different areas, if there happens to be a trauma pattern that's um, living in, existing in, a part of a certain body region, then just paying attention to that body region with some level of focus can actually activate that body region and reactivate that trauma
Mm-hmm.
for people. So we're big fans of, hey, let's just actually treat everybody like there's something hiding. And we do what we call trauma sensitive body scans. We don't just do trauma sensitive body scans for people that we know who have had trauma,
Right.
right? Because the stats tell us that,
It's like 90% of people are walking around with traumatized nervous systems.
yeah.
So, yeah, just assume.
Yeah, so assume that there's something going on there that could be brought to the surface by doing a body scan.
Yep.
That doesn't mean you don't want to do body scans. It just means you want to do them in a certain way.
Hmm.
So what are some trauma sensitive guidelines when we're doing body scans? Well, one of the first guidelines is you want to make sure that you have what we call safety anchors. And what's a safety anchor? Well, it's anything that helps you feel kind of regulated, like helps you feel settled, helps you feel safe, helps you feel secure, helps you feel stabilized. And so for some people, that's just bringing their awareness back to feeling their body's contact with the floor.
Hands on the heart or the
Yep,
belly.
hands on heart of the belly are great.
Bringing your awareness back to your breath,
Hmm.
and sometimes a visual, looking at a certain picture or
Yep. Yeah.
nature.
Yeah. And so you'll want to have a safety anchor available to you before you start the body scan, not trying to look for it
When you
when you
need it.
feel dysregulated, right? So you want to make sure you have an anchor set up ahead of time. It can be, again, something really, really simple. Doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be something you know you can come to if for some reason a body region gets activated.
Since I really like the safety anchor concept is about the own agency and empowerment
Hmm.
that it comes along with, because sometimes when you do certain somatic practices, it can feel a little bit out of control. Not saying that's supposed to happen or whatever, but it can happen. And the safety anchor really does stimulate the sense of agency and my own empowerment to do something and not be like, somebody help me,
Yeah. Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I love that. Which actually leads into the second really important part of trauma sensitive practice is that idea of choice, which is, I think you're speaking to that.
Yeah.
So if you're in a class, if you're in a class, like a live class and being led through, if the teacher doesn't overtly say, listen, you have a choice as we're going through this body scan to do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. So
Yeah.
as we're going through the body scan, say we're focusing on your thighs, we get to the thighs part, and that feels activating for you, then you have a choice to like go back to your feet or go up to your shoulders. Like actually, you can move your attention to a different part of your body that feels more regulating for you. You don't have to stay in the body area that feels activating just because the teacher's asking you to focus on that area.
And I want to give permission granted that even if the teacher does not give you choice or says that you have to move through it, that you don't. Because I've been in classes where the teacher actually said, do not stop, do not, you must follow. And man, that puts a lot of pressure.
Yeah, so that is not a
No,
trauma
it is
sensitive class, right?
not.
Or a leader.
So you always have choice.
Yep. So, and you might find that that may work for you, or you might find that if you need a more trauma sensitive kind of type guidance, to make sure you ask the instructor, hey, do you do trauma sensitive practice?
Right.
Talk to them about choice, those sorts of things. And if they,
Yeah, and you can say that actually before you go to a
yeah,
class, just to ask,
exactly.
is this a trauma sensitive class? And see what the instructor says. If that's important to you, you can ask those
Yeah,
questions ahead of
exactly.
time.
Now, if you're listening to an app or something pre-recorded, then that's on you. We're just going to give permission. Like you have choice. Even if the teacher on the app says, stick with this area, stay with this area for 5 minutes, you don't have to. You don't have to. You can move on for what feels good for you. Now, I also will say, sometimes, and this is better when you're working with a practitioner, by the way, let me just say this.
Have
There
a relationship.
when you have a relationship with a practitioner, there is some benefit, and maybe not some, there could be great benefit to actually staying in an area that feels activating and practicing what we call widening your window of tolerance for that area. Because those sensations of activation, if they become really highly charged, then they end up kind of hijacking your nervous system and directing the actions that you'll take. And if those sensations are underneath your awareness, they're running all the time, even if you don't realize it. And they could be exactly what's getting you the results in your life that you want to change. So, when you work with a sensation based motivation coach who knows how to help you do this, they can actually help you stay in an area to slowly widen your window of tolerance for those sensations so that then you can change them. Doing that on your own is really risky because the more a person who's experienced trauma focuses on a body region that gets activated by trauma, the more likely they are to become re-traumatized and dysregulated. So you want to make sure you're doing that and having support with someone who understands how to do how to do trauma sensitive work.
Yep, well said.
Yep. So I want to just say that. Oh, we talked about window of tolerance is kind of the other idea we just talked about. Okay. So you can either move on or you can stay in an area, widen your window of tolerance. Those are also kind of working within those levels too. Um, as we're having the conversation, as we're wrapping the conversation here, Ani, you already kind of noted like what were some of your favorite things? What are some of your favorite things about body scans? You said before that you don't always like them, but what are some of your favorite things about body scans?
I really like being led.
Okay.
And I like it when people do body scans sequentially. I'm not a fan of being led through a body scan where people bounce around.
Okay.
That just feels really good for me. Um, when somebody's intention is to lead through a body scan and to relax and they cue well, I really enjoy that a lot.
Mm.
Um, I actually really like doing body scans in a group as a part of stuff. I've done that a number of times in my life, and I don't know. I think it somehow creates connection with the group
Yeah.
and on a different level. And it also then makes the whatever practices we're going to do, it doesn't matter what it is, just feel more satisfying.
Yeah. No, those are all great things. All great
How
things.
about you?
So yeah, thanks for asking. For me, I would rather not be led than led. Like I like doing my own kind of process. I can relax into that more. If I am led, however, doing a body scan, I like it to be very vanilla. Like base and I do like a sequential body scan, but the way I like it is basically okay, pay attention to your feet and then they don't say anything else.
Mm.
Like I just get to pay attention to my feet and then okay, we're going to your knees, don't say anything else.
Oh yeah, I don't like
Like
that.
go to
Yeah,
your leg, don't say anything. So that
as
I
much.
actually can fill in my own
Mm-hmm.
experience and all the person is doing is kind of like
Cue.
cueing, kind of timing me
Moving.
through the body scan to keep me moving so I don't get hung up in one area too long,
Sure.
or I don't drift off.
Right.
But I've been in body scans before where I don't like the bouncing around thing. I've been in
Yeah.
body scans where people bounced around, and
I
I'm
don't
like,
like
where are
that.
they? I'm
Where
always
are you
thinking about
going
where are you going
next?
next,
Yeah,
and it disrupts my
me
ability to
too.
actually settle.
Where are we going next? What did we miss? Have we done the belly? Did we do the head? Did we do the head? I don't
Yeah,
remember. Oh
totally.
my
So I
goodness.
have the same experience. So I like the sequential practice personally. And then I've also been in body scans where people, even if they're going sequentially through, what they'll do is they'll name the body part and then they'll bring in a bunch of
Oh, I'm not a
visualization
fan of that.
and then I get lost in
Me
the
too.
visualization. I just drift off
Yeah.
and then it's like literally I don't come back to like we're in our arms. And I'm like, what happened? Like,
Right.
where was I
Right.
between the legs and the arms sort of thing?
I like visual led meditations when I know they're going to be visually led and that's what we're doing.
Mhm.
But to me, mixing the two feels like oil and water or whatever. Like just I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean by very vanilla for me. I need
Yeah.
to like the less talking as a part of it, the better
Right.
kind of thing for
So
me.
so I like a good cue, but I really like it to be the same.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't have said vanilla. That makes sense now. I like it to be very routine. So we're gonna do, for example, your arms are heavy, your head's heavy, your
Yeah,
legs are
sure.
heavy,
Yep.
like everything's
Yep.
heavy.
Yeah.
I don't want different cues. I don't want to walk through the forest and
Right. Yeah. It's same thing.
things.
Not that I don't like walking through the forest meditations, but
Exactly.
I need to know
I want
that's
that
what
to
we're
be the
doing.
thing.
Exactly. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's just for me. I don't know. It sounds like you and I are kind of similar,
But
but not
different.
spot on sort of
Yeah.
thing.
But
So
tracks
yeah. So
similar, but not completely the
yeah, there
same.
you go. There you go. So for you, for listening listeners, like, I hope this was a helpful podcast for you. I hope you got an understanding, a little bit of understanding about body scans. You can go in general, you can go specifically through. You got these 3 levels you can work with. You want to make sure you're doing these things in a trauma sensitive way to make sure that you're gaining from them and you're keeping yourself safe and stable through the process and the practice as well. Help yourself feel not only more relaxed, but more sensory literate about what's going on in your body, which, by the way, is your subconscious mind.
Correct. Hey, not to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna. Do you have any body scan stuff in the Somatic Coaching Academy
I
library?
believe that there is a body scan in the library.
Okay. I mean, I know there's a bunch of core centering practices, but I'm not remembering all of them right now. So, listeners, if you're looking for some certainly core centering practices, it sounds like there's also a body scan. If you're not in our Somatic Coaching Academy library,
Yep.
what the heck is that? There's about 150 plus, because we stopped counting, content pieces in a vault area that anybody can get access to. It's totally free. You do have to sign up because you need to like log in and stuff. So you go to our website and you can either click on library, or there's opt-ins basically all over the place. If you certainly can't find it, just email us, info@somaticcoachingacademy.com. But there's just some great lead practices in there, and you can kind of taste test a bunch of this
Yeah.
stuff and look for the body scan.
You got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, hey, thanks. This was great, and it's just a good reminder of the fundamentals. So, we don't always talk about them, and I really appreciated kind of bringing it back to the
Back
body.
to basics.
So, back to the basics.
Bring it back to the body.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful week.
Yep. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope that this conversation will help you improve your practice and change the way you think about your work, your clients, and yourself.
Continue your exploration of trauma-sensitive somatic coaching by listening to more podcast episodes at somaticcoachingacademy.com. You could be the trusted guide that people turn to help them with their most challenging situations and to reach their most precious goals. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next time.